Hey, it's Jaleigh here, and I came to talk to you guys today about soul ties, intimacy, sex, casual sex versus making love. Today's video is something that I feel like I wanted to do because I feel like we live in a generation that doesn't really think of how sex may be affecting us on an emotional or spiritual level. And I personally have been involved in promiscuous sex that's casual. And I know that I believe in soul ties as well. And so the thing that I kind of wanted to talk about and create this open forum for today on my channel is, what is intimacy? What is sex? What is the meaning behind the action? So I have some notes because I'm forgetful as fuck. And sex is a tridimensional experience: spirit, soul, and body. So I feel like that's a very deep concept, because that means that when we have sex, we're joining our spirit with that person, our soul, and then our body lastly. That's just because the outside and our physical selves is just a shell of who we are overall. Our soul is our energy source, our life presence. So when we're having sex with people, we're joining our life presence with theirs. Our soul, our spirit, our energy is combined with theirs. Now, if you think of it as a tridimensional experience, then it goes a little bit deeper than the surface of what people normally talk about when they talk about sex. And it's something that I feel like is never really addressed. But in a casual sexual exchange, the soul ties that are made, these spiritual bonds, these soulful bonds, outside of the physical bond of body and body, those things create a lack of connect when they're not all in alignment. So I am talking from the perspective of somebody who has had tons of casual sex, and I'm not knocking people who have one night stands. That's not the goal of this video. I'm not knocking people who have promiscuous sex. I'm not knocking casual sex. Okay? I've dated couples. I've had threesomes before. I'm a very sensual person, and I've had a multitude of sexual experiences. For those of you who don't know, I've done pornography. I was in that industry, in the adult industry, for 5 years. So my perspective on sex was a little skewed being in that industry, because my sexual intimacy was something that also made me money and created a lifestyle for me that I wanted to live. So sex to me was a form of currency. Peep, peep. It was a form of currency to me, because that is what it was used as. And I'm not talking about prostitution here. I am talking about me being a porn star and how that affected my lack of understanding of the deeper meaning of sex. And so sex means to me now something completely different than it meant to me when I was having sex as a currency. Sex to me now means a soul tie. It means a bond with somebody. It means a deeper connection where our souls meet. Every time we have a sexual experience, we are creating deep-rooted bonds with the other individual. So on a psychological level, psychological intimacy has to be present for both the mind and the body to be in alignment with each other. Because giving yourself to somebody physically does not mean that you're in alignment and giving yourself to them mentally. And a bond is a verb. Join or be joined securely to something else. Securely. That means the psychological bond would be secure. It would be deep rooted, as I previously stated. So, intimacy, follow me, is a noun, and it means close familiarity or friendship. So, if we're experiencing intimacy and getting familiar, close familiarity, wouldn't we want psychological intimacy with that person as well? And I am a sapiosexual, which is another topic, but a sapiosexual is a person who finds intelligence sexually attractive or arousing. And I find that when I feel as though I'm at psychological oneness with the person that I'm intimate with, that then in turn, the sex is better. And I really want to hear other people's point of view on this same thing. But I find that the sex is better when I have that bond on that tridimensional level. And I feel as though coming from a place where sex was currency and now being in a place where intimacy is the goal and psychological intimacy is the goal, it's a huge transformation. And I'm not talking about celibacy or abstinence or polyamory or polygamy or polyandry, which are forms of polygamy. I'm talking about sex with one person. I'm talking about that experience. I feel like on a deep level, when we make sexual bonds that are psychological as well, because a sexual bond is a psychological bond, that we have to be in alignment with making that tridimensional experience something that we want to welcome into our life, because you don't want to have a soul tie with everybody's soul. You don't know what is in everybody's soul. So why would you want to have a soul tie with someone who you do not know? An exchange of your life source, your energy source. Their soul could be rotten completely. And if you don't know the person, then you're allowing yourself, if you believe that sex is an intimate experience that is tridimensional, you're allowing yourself to be invested in somebody on a spiritual and soulful level who you do not know what they stand for, what it is that they believe in, what they represent. And when you know not just intelligence, because a sapiosexual is somebody who is attracted to intelligence, but when you're also attracted to people's personality, their aura, you want to get into that attraction on a deep level. Sexually and spiritually are two separate things, but they both are parallel to each other. They both represent a strong presence of something, of two people combining. So the point of this video is that I want us to think about the difference between casual sex and why that's important to us as individuals, and intimacy, psychological intimacy. Why we are attracted to the person we are attracted to, and on what level are we attracted to that person? What level? Is it spiritually, soulfully, physically? Because if it's just the physically, it's missing the layers of connection that will take place once we engage in the sexual activity that is casual. And if it really is a soul tie, then you're creating a bond with someone that may or may not be affecting your own spirit, soul, and aura. And then it gets deep, because that means that everyone we have this exchange with is in turn someone who may or may not affect our life. Because if they're affecting our spirit, and they're affecting our aura, and they're affecting our life force, which is our energy source, then that means that is going to affect our behavior, our thoughts, and our experience and our quality of life. So the importance of sex and intimacy together is that when you are psychologically intimate, spiritually intimate with a person, then you are creating a sort of atmosphere where the physical intimacy is a result of psychological and mental stimulation. And that is a completely separate experience, and a completely different experience than just creating a physical bond. So comment, like, subscribe. I really want to hear what you guys think on intimacy, on sex, on casual sex versus making love. I want to hear the voices of our generation. I want y'all to speak up on this topic, because we all have sex. Whether it's promiscuous, it's with one person, whether it's polyamorous, you're a unicorn for a couple, whatever, it gets kinky. But we all have sex, and I want to hear the dialogue. Interact with me on this about what you guys think I said here today, because it's not to shame, it's to expose a different type of environment when it comes down to sexual intimacy, and why that is important, and how come these sexual exchanges need to be thought out, because that soul tie is real. Thank you for watching my video. Subscribe.